everyone a couple moments to hop on. But today we are talking about using your subconscious mind to uplevel your money mindset, uplevel your income, all the things. I'm just making sure that, is this live going? I think it is. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to do Facebook at the same time. And the internet has a mind of its own. Hi, I'm just giving everybody a second to hop on, but do you want to let us know where are you joining from? How's your day been going so far? Hello, everybody. I'm just giving everybody, hey, how's it going? Just giving everyone a moment to hop on and then we will get started. I'm so excited to be talking about using your subconscious mind because I was recently reminded of this and something else that I saw. It was they were talking about the law of attraction and they were like, oh, you just have to every time you have a limiting belief come up, you have to journal on it and then write the opposite belief, and you just have to keep doing this over and over. And I was like, oh my god, that takes forever. There is just a way faster way that we can do this by using our subconscious mind, because our subconscious is really where our programming lives. It's where our brain programming lives. It's not in the conscious mind. Your conscious mind is sort of going around making the decisions, and when you're journaling, you're very much in your conscious mind. You are rewriting things, and so it's that continual conscious input eventually will snowball into something becoming a belief in your subconscious. When you keep thinking it over and over again, it eventually does get into your subconscious mind. But we can just go straight into your subconscious and put the belief in there without having to journal over and over and over again. So I was really inspired to do this live today because I am a very impatient person, and I love doing things quickly and efficiently and with the least amount of steps. That's just my preferred way of doing things. And as a projector in human design, one of my gifts is to see things and then find a way to make a really efficient system out of them so that you can get there more quickly. Because I don't know if you know a lot about human design, but projectors don't have we don't have our own energy center. So when we do work, we're only supposed to work for 3 hours a day. So that means that we need to be so amazing at discovering systems and efficient ways for doing things so that we're not spending a lot of our energy tiring ourselves out. So I am all about finding an efficient, elegant way of doing things that makes your transformation quicker. And as much as I love journaling, I know there's ways that we can shift our beliefs a lot faster. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So basically, I sort of touched on this, but when I first started learning about the law of attraction, there's a lot of figure out what your limiting beliefs are and rewrite them, and eventually you'll get to that tipping point where your mind accepts the new beliefs. But that takes a long time, and I'm impatient. And when I started to work with my subconscious mind, it got a whole lot faster. And I don't know if you know what your subconscious mind is. Give me a heart if you guys know what your subconscious is and how it affects you. If not, that's totally fine, because we are going to be talking about it today, and you're going to learn about what it is and how you can work with it. So basically, I'm going to be showing you how to use your subconscious mind to make more money as well, which is amazing. So this is something I'm super passionate about. So I'm going to start by telling you guys a little story. Probably over 10 years ago now, when I was 19, I started my photography business. And hi, Nisha, how are you? And I was working really, really, really hard, and I was just so determined to make this business work. I was this is what I want to do, and if I just hustle as hard as I can, I will be successful. And I felt after a little while I got really confused, because I was working really, really hard and basically burning myself out, and I just couldn't figure out why it was like other people just seemed to be getting there faster, or like I was working so hard and just like not seeing the results that I wanted. And later on, I discovered I actually had subconscious beliefs around not believing I could be successful doing something I loved. And like, as anyone who has started a business based on doing something that they love know, well, like, how is that supposed to work? Like, if you are at this cross purpose in your subconscious believing that it's not possible, you're never going to fully be able to take those actions, because the way it sort of breaks down is like your thoughts create your beliefs create your feelings, and your feelings create your actions. And so like if you don't have those feelings part of it right, if on some level you feel like something is not possible for you, your mind won't let you do it, because it wants to be efficient, it wants to conserve your energy, it wants you to put your energy into doing things that it thinks are going to help it survive. And if it believes that something is not possible from you, it's going to kind of self-sabotage you at a lot of points. Like maybe you won't really be like going for it as much as you think you need to, or maybe you'll struggle charging the prices, or you'll always be discounting yourself, or you'll find yourself procrastinating a lot. Like, let me know if this sounds anything familiar to you. So we're going to explain a little bit about what your subconscious mind is. So basically, you have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious mind. And the way I like to think of them is like if you imagine it being like an iceberg, and so your mind is the iceberg and your conscious mind is the top part, the like little bit above the water that you can see. And that's the part of your mind that does like the rational thinking, it does decision making, it kind of is like it thinks it's making the decisions. And then your subconscious mind is the part that's underneath the water, and like we can't see it, but it's very much there, and it's steering the ship. And your subconscious is really in charge of like your programming. Like it basically is what's reminding your heart to keep beating. It's like what makes you keep blinking your eyes, even though you don't have to consciously like be like blink every time you want to blink. It's like how if you're going to drive home and you've been like listening to music or just daydreaming, and you realize that somehow you got home and you weren't even paying attention to the drive, like how did you get there? That's what your subconscious does. So it's really projecting out whatever you believe on a subconscious level is projected out into your reality, and that's kind of what you end up getting trained to notice and recognize, because your subconscious mind is picking up like, I think it's like 2 million bits of data a second, and your conscious mind is noticing like 126 of those things. So you really have these filters based around what you believe, so that you don't get overwhelmed with the stimulus of everything in your environment, because your subconscious is noticing like the feeling of you sitting on the chair, it's noticing like every single thing in the room around you. And if this wasn't being filtered out by what your mind deemed important, it would be really overwhelming to us. So that's what happens with your conscious mind. It does the filtering for you. And so it's kind of on us to tell our mind, like, this is what's important to me. That's why when you write down goals, it makes it so much more effective for you getting to the goal, because you're kind of training your mind in a way to notice, like, okay, this is what's important to me. So now we're gonna like figure out more ways to notice like someone talking about this thing, or we're gonna figure out how to get you there, because your mind is like a goal-seeking machine. Whatever you're focusing on is what it's going to go towards. So that's why it's really important for us to be focusing on the things that we want. And when we relate this to money, like just as a really basic example, like even having gratitude and appreciation for the money you currently have is going to get you more of it, because when you focus on like being grateful for what you have, then that's when more of it can come into your life. But instead of that, if you focus on the lack of it and be like, okay, I'd never have enough money, I don't have enough money, like think about the feeling that is elicited from that thought. Like you have the thought like, I don't have enough money, straight away you start to feel kind of stressed. And so that stress in your body kind of like contributes to like, okay, I have this feeling about the thing, and then that's going to kind of dictate the action that you're going to take, because you have this feeling. And so with your subconscious, it's been like how do I say this? It has been perceiving and remembering everything that's ever happened to you since before you were born. Like, it stores everything that happens, but we just don't really have access to it easily because of the way that your mind stores memories. We can't really easily access what's going on in the subconscious, but it's all in there. And so basically with our, it's called like a memory matrix. So basically the way the memory matrix works is that, like, say when it comes to money, because that's what we're talking about on here, we're just going to use money as an example. Say you are having a situation today where maybe looking at your finances stresses you out, or maybe you always feel like there's not enough, or you're always telling yourself that, like, maybe you have some kind of a pattern going on where, like, as soon as you get it, you spend it all. Whatever is going on, that's not the first time you're having that interaction with money. So your mind is kind of lazy, and that it doesn't like to create like a new decision for something every time something happens. It kind of just wants to go back to see, like, how did you react to this thing in previous situations, and let's just like apply that feeling to it now. And the way that things get really stored as like significant memories or significant emotional experiences, they're called, it'll be like something happens around money. Say, for example, you were like 5 years old, you saw your parents fighting around money, and as a 5-year-old you were scared, and your 5-year-old like rationale was like, oh my god, they're fighting around money must be bad. And that gets really like encoded into your body as like a strong memory because you have like a strong emotional association to it. And then after that, that's kind of how your mind is going to store its feelings around money. It's like, oh, this is something to be afraid of, it must be bad. And so then every time you kind of see money after that, your mind kind of goes back to that initial memory of it and applies that same response to it the next time. And then it does it again the next time, and then it just builds and builds and builds over time. So then you get to be an adult and you have like all these weird fears and stresses around money that might not actually be related to what's going on in the situation, but that's how your mind is kind of choosing to reenact that same feeling every single time. Is this sort of making sense? Give me like a heart or an emoji or something and let me know how this is sounding for you. Is it making sense? I'm gonna think that's a yes. All right, cool. We're gonna keep going. So we've got our subconscious mind, we've got our conscious mind, and so our subconscious is really where all the beliefs are kind of stored, and they're getting projected out into, like, your conscious mind is like seeing the stimulus, your subconscious is like, okay, here's what we believe around the thing, like here's how I feel around the thing. And so I had a client who, she came to me because she wanted to work on her money blocks, and she, amazing. So glad to hear that. She wanted to work on her money blocks because she couldn't figure out why she felt like she had everything that she needed to know to create a successful business. She was like, I know what I need to do. I have the framework, like I'm taking the action, but something is just coming up where, like, when it comes to like sales situations where she's like, I just avoid it. I pull back, like I avoid them, like I just don't want to deal with it. And I think that's a common thing for a lot of people when they have their own businesses. Like, we think sales feels icky for some reason, and we can't really figure out why it feels that way to us. It's like we have this very strong primal reaction to it. And it's like, where did that feeling come from? So the reason that she had this feeling around it, and just around like managing money in general, is we went back, we regressed her back, and we discovered she had a belief that it wasn't safe for her to make more than her family made. Like, if she made more than her family, then that would be like bad, or it would be like shameful for them in some kind of a way. Like, she just was like, that's not okay, it's off limits. So straight away that's going to block you if you are like, I can't make more money than my family. Because as humans, we are hardwired to seek connection and avoid rejection. So if there's something that we think is going to get us rejected by like the tribe or like the people around you, we're going to block it on a subconscious level, because we prioritize being like accepted and connected to people, because that's how we had to survive previously. But that's not true for us anymore. And also her other belief that came up was, when she was younger, it was like her family actually needed to have her like pay for things because they weren't doing well, and like she got her first job and she was having to help support her family from a very young age. So straight away she had these feelings around like, well, even when I make money, like I don't get to keep it, like I don't get to benefit from it, I don't get to have fun with it, like someone else manages it. And then also she had this belief around like, because of that, she must not be a good manager of money. Like it was like someone else had to manage the money, like she would let her husband do it, or like she would just always put those decisions on him. So all of this stuff was kind of contributing to why she was really struggling when it came to like making sales or like dealing with money in her business, and why she almost had created sort of a cap for herself. And so this is how your subconscious beliefs really can affect what you think you want on a conscious level, because on a conscious level you're like, yes, like I want to have a business that's successful, I want to be able to make sales. But then your subconscious beliefs are like, hold up, no way, like that's not safe, we're not letting you have that, because your mind is always seeking out like pain, and it's trying to, or no, I got that wrong. Your mind is always looking for pleasure and it wants to avoid pain. So if you've attached pain to something, then your mind is going to do everything that it can to sort of try and avoid that situation. And so that's why we don't get what we want in life, we get what we believe. We get what we believe about ourselves, we get what we believe about like other people, we get and we also get things at the level of our self-worth, because when we take the way that it sort of breaks down is like your identity, like who you believe that you are on an identity level, is going to affect your beliefs and your values, and your beliefs and your values are going to affect the actions that you take. So when you want to create something new in your life, when you want to make more money, when you want to charge people more things, you need to really look at like, okay, what on an identity level do I have that supports me creating this change? Because if on an identity level, say you have like beliefs around like, I'm not good with money, or like rich people are evil, or like I don't want to, or a big one that comes up is like, we just don't make money like that, like I'm not that kind of a person. If those are the beliefs you have, or that's like the identity level, then the beliefs that you create out of that are going to be like, well, I can't make money, I can't charge that much, like I can't do this. And so when you have those beliefs and those values, you're never going to really be able to take action the way that you need to take action. So you need to start shifting things on an identity level, like figuring out like, okay, who is the version of me that has that amount of money? Like who is the version of me who has like $10,000 weeks being my new normal? Like who is that version? And what's the gap between me and that other person? Like how can I close that gap and start showing up as that person now? How can I embody them now? Like what are they thinking? How are they feeling? How do they go about their day? Like what do they do in the morning? What's their routine? Like really dialing in deep on figuring out like, who is that person on an identity level? And you can journal on this. You can really almost break it down into each category. Like say you could break it down into like, into your relationships, into your finances. Let's just use finance as an example, because we're talking about money. So it's like, okay, say you want to manifest $10,000 months. So you're like, okay, who is the version of me who is making $10,000 a month? What is she doing every day? What does she think about money? How does she feel when she spends her money? How does she feel when she looks in her bank account? Really figuring out like who that person is, and then what are the feelings like that they're feeling. Like choose 3 primary feelings that that version of you has. That version of you who is like, okay, $10,000 months, they're done, they're available, it's mine, it's guaranteed. Okay, how does she feel? Like just figuring it out, and start figuring out like, how can I feel those feelings every day? And from the place of that feeling, what action am I taking? What am I guided to do? What things make sense to me to do, knowing that my thing is done and available to me? Then what does it make sense to do? How's that sounding to you guys? Do you want to let me know? Just send me some hearts or an emoji. Might see if I can find some water. It's a lot of talking. And so now we're going to kind of bring everything back all together, because we've talked about the subconscious and the conscious mind. We've talked about like who you are on an identity level, what you believe. And so now I'm going to tell you about how we can sort of like bring them all together when it comes to creating this new identity version level of you, but also instilling these beliefs on a subconscious level. So I just want to share with you guys about the first time that I had rapid transformational therapy done on me, and it basically changed my business overnight. So I'd heard about it on a podcast, and I was like, that sounds amazing, I need to go try it. And so I found a practitioner and I had a session done on me, and that's when I started uncovering the beliefs that I had around like I couldn't be successful doing what I loved. And also there was a time growing up where like my dad wasn't getting paid for the work he was doing, and I was around 7 or 8 years old, and then that happened, and the little like 7 or 8 year old version of me started to believe that like you can work really hard, but you might not get paid for it, and you can work really hard doing something you love, because my dad loved his work, and you still might not get paid for it. And so you can see how these beliefs kind of contribute to a really like you're at a cross purpose when it comes to trying to run your business, if those are the beliefs that are looping from your subconscious, remembering that your subconscious is like what you're projecting out into creating your reality. So after I did that RTT session, I uncovered what was going on, what were the root causes of that, what was like going on in my subconscious, and then we rewired it and we reintegrated new beliefs, because once you get rid of the old ones, it's like you need to replace it with something new. So a belief is just a thought you think over and over, so RTT is really successful at just like implanting those new beliefs straight into your subconscious. So it's like you're not having to journal on it every single day, you're not having to like rewrite it all the time, like you were literally just putting it straight into your subconscious, and then that's what's projecting out into the world. And I was so blown away, because it was like the next week everything was different in my business. Like people were coming to me, I had so many more clients coming to me. It was like the floodgates had just opened up, and I wasn't actually doing anything that different strategically. Like I was still marketing the same way, I was still showing up on Instagram, but I felt so much freer in that like I was showing up more as myself. There was some other beliefs that I needed to shift around, like showing up authentically as myself and like being worthy of creating what I wanted to create, that also shifted in that session as well, which is like the amazing thing about working with your subconscious beliefs, is like the beliefs don't exist in a vacuum. You'll find that when you shift one thing, you start to shift other things as well, which is really fascinating, seeing like what ends up being linked together. And so the things that shifted were like I just started showing up so much easier, and because of that it was like I was getting more clients, I was able to take the action that I really needed to take to build my business up. But the thing that really stuck with me is I was like, it's not the strategy that's the important thing. Like you can have the perfect strategy, if such a thing exists, and someone tell you exactly what you need to do, but unless you believe it and you have the identity and like self-worth to support it, like you're never going to take the action and show up as fully as you need to, because on a subconscious level you'll be blocking yourself. And so I just want to ask you, if like one of the great ways that you can start to see your patterns that are showing up for you, because sometimes when people are like, I don't know what my limiting beliefs are, which is totally normal, because it's like fish aren't aware of the water they swim in. When we've had a belief for most of our life, it's really hard for us to imagine it could be anything different, which is why it sort of shows up in, it's like almost you need someone else to point out your blind spots. But one of the great ways you can start to notice is like, just notice how you show up in life. Like, how do you show up in your finances? Like, are you like consistent? Are you scared to look at them? Are you scared to deal with them? Is it like something that feels like you just don't want to deal with it? And then also looking at like your relationships. How do you show up in relationships? Are you there? Are you consistent? Are you kind of wishy-washy? How do you show up in your business? Like really looking at this, you can journal it out, because sometimes it helps just to notice like where the similarities are, and then just start to notice like what are the patterns coming up for you. Like, is there something showing up in every single category where maybe it's like, okay, that pattern is not serving me. Like maybe I have a pattern around like not asking for what I actually want is a big one, or settling for what I think I can get instead of asking for what I really want, because generally when you do something in one area of your life, you do that in all the areas of your life. And it's really interesting because I think a lot of the time the patterns that we have around love and money are the same. So like what you kind of accept in love is like what you will accept in money too, with the energetics around it, which is really interesting. So yeah, bringing it all back around now, like for so long, I believed that the key to making the money that I wanted in my business, it was just to work more. But now I'm like, I know that's not true, because one, the people who are like working like 2 or 3 jobs and just still struggling to make ends meet, like if that was true, they would be the richest people, and the people who worked the least would have no money. And we know that's not true, because when people have lots of money, it's like, well, they don't really need to do work per se, because their money works for them. So it's also just knowing that like the same level of thinking that created your problem is never going to create your solution. And when it comes to manifesting money, it's like people, they think that, like I hear sometimes people say, they'll be like, oh, I manifested something, and I'm like, but you're always manifesting, you can't turn it off. Like the thing about manifesting is that it is always happening, because you're always creating your reality, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it. Reality is different for all of us, and it all is based on like our subconscious beliefs. That's what's being projected out into like reality. So that's why it's different for everyone. And also, another key thing that I didn't really have a lot of time to include it into today, because the subconscious is like such a big topic, but also like especially when it comes to your business and making money, like not charging enough is going to be a huge thing attached to like your self-worth. So it's like when you do the work on your subconscious and on your money beliefs, it's like you need to do the work on your self-worth as well, because if you don't feel worthy of something, you're never going to manifest it into your life with ease. So that's why like this work goes like hand in hand together. And so I also just wanted to mention, if this was interesting for you and you want to go further, this is exactly what we're going to be covering in Money Mindset Made Easy. We are going to be reprogramming your subconscious with rapid transformational therapy. We are going to be shifting your beliefs on an identity level. I'm going to teach you my manifestation process that does not involve journaling and rewriting your beliefs every single day. And we're also going to be working on like up-leveling your self-worth so that you can manifest more money. So I just want you to do like a gut check and like see how this feels. Like what would it feel like if like money could just be easy and like flowing to you, and like if you could trust it to be there for you. And so we're just going to do a little like higher self activation, because I really truly believe we all have the answers that we need inside us, and society tries to tell us otherwise, because there's always someone being like, you need to listen to me, or you need to listen to me. And I just don't believe that's true. I think we always have that inner guidance inside of us. So we're just going to do a little like higher self activation now. So I just want you, unless you're driving or something, like don't close your eyes, but I just want you to close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths. We're just going to breathe in and breathe out. And just one more time. And breathe out. And just keeping your eyes closed, I just want you to imagine the highest version of yourself, the version of yourself that has everything you want, the version of you that has the business they want, the career they want, the relationship they want, that has the income level that they want. And I just want you to really feel into that, and just, what does she feel like? Like, what is that feeling that she's feeling? And what is she doing? If you can see her doing something. And like, what is she doing as she goes about her day? Like, how does she start her day? What does she eat for breakfast? And just really connecting with her and like feeling into her now. And now I just want you to ask her, like, what guidance does she have for you? What advice does she have for you? If she could give you a message, what's the message? Like, what is your next step that you need to take? And I want you to just listen and see what she tells you to do. And now just taking another deep breath. And now you can just slowly blink your eyes open. And if you want, you can just leave me like a comment, like how did that feel for you? What did it feel like to connect with her? Did she tell you something that was interesting for you? And also, as just like a thank you for showing up to today, I wanted to give you a $111 discount for Money Mindset Made Easy and a bonus group RTT session for raising your self-worth. This is only going to be available for today. You have 24 hours to use the code, and the code is Money Queen. Doesn't matter, like caps don't matter, it's just Money Queen, and the link is in my bio on Instagram, and I will post it in the Facebook group as well. But yeah, if you feel that's okay, I'll post the replay, and then you can just watch it whenever feels good for you. But I just also wanted to leave you with this, like, I totally believe in you, and if this is something that you're struggling with, just know that I was like in exactly the same place as you, and the only difference is like I've done the work, I have the process, and I'm sharing that process with you. So I always truly believe the best way to get to where you want to go is to find someone who has done it before and just learn from them, because that's how I've learned everything I learned, is just by finding mentors and leaders and teachers who could show me what they've done and just replicating that process, because it will always be so much faster just to learn from someone else what they've done instead of trying to like figure it out on your own. So if your inner guidance is saying that Money Mindset Made Easy is for you, I would love to see you inside of it. We're starting in the second week of October, so I can't wait for it. And I just wanted to leave you with one last thought, and that is that like you have two choices right now. And you can invest, and you can enroll now, and you can start making back your investment, because I always like to instill the belief in myself and everyone else that like every investment I put into myself, I always make that money back like ×3. So just setting that standard for yourself now, and or like you can not use the information that you learn here and continue to just try and do it yourself and figure it out on your own, and have like that, oh, I'll do it next time mentality. But then it's like sometimes there's not always a next time, or next time like the price goes up, or it's not for a long time, and a lot of things can happen before this program gets launched again. So I would so strongly encourage you, if you're feeling called, I would love to have you. If you have any questions, please send me a message. I'm totally here for you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I just wanted to see, did you have any last questions before I hop off? Happy to answer anything. Oh, somebody is asking me, when does this start? It starts, the orientation call is going to be on October 12th. Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming, Tara. Tara? Am I saying it right? It's going to be on October 12th is the orientation call, and then after that our calls will always be on the Monday in Australia and the Sunday in North America. Oh, thank you. So yeah, that's everything. I will probably hop off now, but yeah, you've got 24 hours to use that discount code. There is a payment plan, so I love a payment plan, so there is one available if you want to use it. So yeah, I hope you guys have an incredible day. Thank you so much for joining live. I had so much fun, and I will see you guys soon.